Hi, I'm Granny B. Welcome to my kitchen for the 4th time. Thank you for still staying with me on these videos. Today I'm going to be doing my daddy's favorite thing in the world, banana pudding. We live here with my dad because he is 92 years old and in a wheelchair. He can take care of himself, but he just needs a little help. And so whenever we have done anything he hasn't realized that we've been doing, he'll look out and he'll go, "Oh, I see, the lawnmower fairy has been here," or "the weed eater fairy has been here." And so then he started putting a quarter underneath my dinner plate and saying, "I'm wondering if that pudding fairy will come around tomorrow if I leave a quarter under her plate." Well, I got a quarter under my plate yesterday, so guess what? Today I'm doing pudding. He calls it gooden pudding. This is a very easy recipe. If you've ever been intimidated against doing homemade pudding, worry no more. This is so simple. And once you learn how good and easy homemade pudding is, you'll never buy that grocery store mix again. You don't have to temper your eggs and you don't have to boil it in a double boiler. All you do is mix everything all at once in a big stew pot. Use a whole can of milk, 12-ounce can of milk. You use the same amount of water, 12 ounces. You use 3 egg yolks, yolks only. The whites I've put in the refrigerator. We'll just mix them up with our scrambled eggs tomorrow. 3 egg yolks, 3/4 cup of sugar, and I like using a little bit of brown sugar in mine. Again, one of my favorite things to say is this is layers of flavor. If you use brown sugar and white sugar, you just get an extra layer of flavor. And 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I also added a really scant 1/4 teaspoon of salt to the cornstarch. You just put it all together, start it all together in a saucepan and start whisking it. Now then, we're going to cut away for a little bit because this is going to take a little while. Well, while I was away from the camera, I kept stirring this banana pudding, this vanilla pudding, and it's beginning to get a little thick. So you don't want to leave it at all. The benefit of doing it in a double boiler is that the chance of scorching the pudding isn't as great, but it takes so much longer. So if you're very diligent to stand here and stir, then you don't have to worry about that. While we're getting to the point where we want to pull this off the fire, I am going to go ahead and tell you the next the last 2 ingredients, and that's a teaspoon or a little more of vanilla flavoring and 2 tablespoons of butter. I like nutmeg, so I'm going to also put some nutmeg in it. I'm still watching it for just a minute, and we'll break away just for a few more seconds. So here I am, still stirring. It's still getting thicker, but I think it's thick enough that I could go ahead and start putting my nutmeg in. Like I told you when I was doing the gravy the other day, nutmeg just adds another layer of flavor. You don't want to taste the nutmeg, but the difference that this nutmeg will put in to your cream dishes is just amazing. So we're going to put a little bit of nutmeg in, stir it up, continue stirring. We are getting so close And now I'm going to tell you the famous Granny B's secret. Why my banana pudding is different than anybody else's. Nestle Lechera. It's a caramel flavored milk product. And so I'm just going to turn this upside down and give it a couple of squishes. You could do the same thing with caramel ice cream sauce, or if you had any of the little canisters left after buying apple and caramel sauce. But anyway, whatever. Just stir it in a little bit. And that is going to change the whole composition of this. And this is one of the reasons why my dad and my husband go, man, that is good pudding. Gooden pudding. I'm going to tattle on my husband. He just reached around here and got that caramel cream, and he's pouring some out on his big finger and putting it in his mouth. Oh my goodness, is he spoiled? But he's my cameraman, so I guess he deserves a little something extra. I'm going to leave that just a second and go ahead and get some of these bananas sliced up. For banana pudding, I like to use the really, really beautiful yellow bananas without too many brown spots. I want them as clean as possible. And you just peel them and take all those strings off of there. Ooh, this is beginning to really get thick now. In fact, I'm going to turn the burner off. I'm going to put my 2 tablespoons of butter in. I'm going to put my vanilla flavoring in. I'm going to stir that up. Here I have a 2-quart Pyrex dish. I guess some of y'all remember this. This is an antique itself. But I still use it. All right. I'm going to show you this pudding with my spoon now. You can see that it's nice and thick. And it will continue to get a little bit thicker. Woo! See that volcano in there? So I have some vanilla wafers left over from the last time, and I'm just going to put those down in my bowl. And you don't have to make them, you don't have to be real fancy with this, but I do line mine up a little bit. And then you put your banana slices. My husband usually comes in and helps at this point, but since he's minding the camera, I'll let him skate. You slice your bananas a little over 1/4 of an inch. I don't like big chunks of banana, but when I bite into it, I want to know that I've got a banana. And in my 2-quart dish, it usually takes about 4 bananas. Once you get a layer of bananas, once you get a layer of wafers and bananas in, then you put about 1/3 of that pudding in there. And smooth it out. And you go again. I usually get 3 layers. And that's the reason I use this same bowl all the time, because I know I know just about how it works out for my recipe. You can cut this recipe in half with no problem, or you could double it if you've got a big batch of company coming, or if you want to take it to a covered dish supper where you know you're going to be feeding several. And as you can see in the bottom of my canister here, there's a lot of crumbs, but I never throw them out. I just let them accumulate naturally until I want to make a vanilla wafer crust, crumb crust or something, and then I dig them out and sift through them and see how many I've got. And I can always crush up more cookies if I need more crust. But here we go with another layer of bananas. Well, I've almost finished another layer of bananas here, and wouldn't you know, while the camera was off, that cookie fairy came and refilled my canister. Thank you, darling. So we're going to put the second layer of pudding on. We're going to smooth it out. And one more layer of cookies. It's going to go all the way to the top here. Now what I do with these skins, these banana skins, banana peelings, is I cut them up and put them in a trash bowl, and we have a compost pit, and we'll put them in the compost pit. Okay, I'm down to my last 4 slices, so I may rearrange these to even them out a little bit. That's good enough. And the last bit of the pudding goes on the top. If you cover the bananas up, they won't turn brown, of course. And some people like to end with the bananas on, with the wafers on the top. But I like to put the pudding on the top. There we go. Now that we're finished with that, my husband and I usually lick the pan. The hardest part, you wait till it cools a little bit, then I put a lid on it. The hardest part of this recipe is standing guard with the lid on to make sure the mice and rats don't get into your pudding. So just beware, be warned. Oh, here comes one now. Get out of that, get out of that.